Welcome everybody. Well, the background has changed. A lot is going to change. I threw together this setup. I just got to my final destination with a lot of things to move around, but I was able to catch the Wings game. I'll have something on the Mercury game a little bit, but that was just a great performance by the Fever in the Mercury game. In this game, Fever took care of business. They're starting to stack wins. They're starting to prove that they are a contender team, just waiting on Caitlin Clark to get back healthy. But this is the best case scenario where the Fever are stacking wins. They're winning against opponents that have strong teams that are healthy, and they are taking care of the teams that they should be beating and building up tools around them. Like right now, this roster looks fairly deep, and we can talk about at least this game. Tosh, Aaliyah Boston did great tonight, double doubles for each of them. Tosh was huge on the offensive rebounds, pulling down, giving us lots of second chance opportunities. She finishes with 11 points. Aaliyah Boston, the highest plus minus tonight at 20. She was a force to be reckoned with on the floor. I saw her getting tossed most of the time. She was down in the paint, and they weren't calling on her. Like, she was getting jersey grabs, she was getting thrown around. They just weren't calling stuff for her. That's tough, but she still ends with 12 points, gets the 11 rebounds. Again, 4 offensive rebounds for her, 6 for Tosh. Huge from the bigs tonight. And both of them also with 5 assists. Like, if you have bigs that are giving you double doubles and getting you 5 assists, that is huge. Between them, also 7 stocks between steals and blocks for them. They're like, that is big time stuff. And Kelsey Mitchell is always just so reliable. 23 points, doing the Lord's work for her. And the funniest part about her is that most of her threes tonight were off of inbound plays. Whatever you want to say about Stephanie White, if you have a problem with her, which at this point I feel like, she's proving herself and the team is proving themselves. I think that you have to acknowledge that her or whoever's running the inbound plays, they're like always open. They're like always open. Kelsey Mitchell's never been so open off of inbounds. And I don't understand, because if Caitlin Clark was out there, like, there's no way they're doing everything to stop her from touching the ball. Yet somehow Kelsey Mitchell, who is the best shooter on the team, is just always wide open. And one thing I hate about broadcasts is they cover up a lot of the inbound plays. They're either showing a highlight or they're zoomed in for some stupid reason, so they don't actually show the action. But the fact that she is always open is crazy. But she did great tonight. Erin McDonald, 15 points, lighting it up from 3. She wasn't landing, her early drives to the rim, but she was 4 for 6 from 3, gives us the points we need, also gives us 6 assists. Unfortunately, had 6 turnovers, some of them not great, and really turnovers were kind of the thing that was really stifling the Indiana Fever from having this be a complete blowout. It kind of let the Wings just kind of stay in the game. There was some funky ref fouling stuff, but whatever. The Fever outscored enough to deal with that. But really, I think that the Fever need to clean up those turnovers, because everything else is looking great. The confidence, the plays, the ball movement, a lot of that stuff is looking good. It's just, man, it's not just that you have turnovers. Like, if you spread them out, it's not as bad. But when you stack them back to back, that's what kind of happens with the Fever that becomes frustrating, is they have this point where they could sprint away, but instead it's just like back to back to back turnovers. At one point, I think they had like 4 turnovers in the last 5 possessions. And that you can't do that if you want to beat the good teams, like the really, really good teams in the league. And I'm sure, again, we're going to have another post press conference where the Fever come out and they're like, we won, but we're not happy with this. We didn't put together a full 4 quarters. We turned over the ball. We should have took care of it more. That kind of rhetoric, but that's good. That's good to have. It's good to have high standards. And again, like I've said in previous videos, I think that's what's going to carry the Fever over the line. Other notables tonight, Lexi Hall, she's been up and down, but she came on later in the game, hit a 3 for us, hit some good shots, had some good defensive plays. Shout out to her for checking on Paige Beckers when she went down. Sophie Cunningham, 6 points on the night. Again, defensive disruptor, 2 steals, had a block on the night too. Everybody just kind of adding in the steals and the blocks, which is good to see. And Bibby, I mean, she earned that rest of season contract. She's the weapon I thought that she could be. And heck, if you're going to get 10 to 6 points a game from her, that's what you're asking. My question to Stephanie White would be, hey, 5 minutes, 31 seconds, she's giving you 6 points, she's giving you a steal, she's giving you an assist. Like, that is very valuable minutes from Chloe, and she's taking tough defensive assignments. Meanwhile, you're giving 11 minutes to Dantas, and all respect to Dantas, like, I've liked her as a player before, but since coming back from AmeriCup, she's just she hasn't been as good, and she's not as good as Chloe Beebe on the floor. Doesn't have the same impact. Her defense isn't great. She's getting lots of fouls or giving lots of fouls. And coming out in the fourth quarter, the reason the Wings kind of picked up is like somehow our offense ran through Dantas for two back to back things where she's taking fadeaway jumpers and missing. And one of them she probably should have got fouled on. But still, I think that that's kind of an area where I'm looking over at Stephanie White and be like, okay, like tell me what tell me what the scheme or what you're seeing here is. And I get that we want to play Dantas and maybe we're playing her for a trade of some sort. I have no idea. But when I look at the results, what the output is on the floor, and this has happened before with the Fever, which I think is one thing that I could criticize Stephanie White for, is like sometimes they're just like slow on the minutes of like who should they be playing, what should they be doing, like, and they're too into like some matchup that they see that they think a player will be great at, and they kind of force that matchup instead of being like who actually is giving us the output that we need. And great offense beats great defense. And I think that Bibby gives you great offense. She has an amazing shot, and she's giving you points. She's giving you good defense. She's not fouling, which is also key and the thing that I think we need. And she plays up tempo fast and can pass. And like, I think that really she should be taking over Dantas minutes. I think that I don't really see a spot where I would play Dantas over her and the other players, over Michaela Timpson, over a game where Natasha Howard's playing good, Aaliyah Boss is playing good, not in foul trouble. Like, it's hard for me to put her in, despite the fact that she can shoot for you. I just think that Bibby is more impressive and consistent, and that's what you get out of her across the board. Colson, again, Sydney, like I want to be your champion, but for love of the all is holy, you just have these ideas where it's like we don't need to make the full court ridiculous. There was one full court pass she had where there was no chance. There was zero chance of that pass going through and making it. And she just leans back and hucks it. And while it's in the air, I'm just like, this is a turnover. What are we doing here? You know, like there's times where you do the full court pass and transition was very clear, but that one like, stood no chance. Like I don't know what act of God would have got that into someone's hands. But overall, I think that the team is on the right track. They're doing really great. Great win from them. And I'm glad that Paige Beckers appeared to be okay. She got up, went and played more. Some interesting things I do see in this game. Someone pointed out that Aaliyah Boston had her hair tucked into her jersey in like the second quarter. So, I mean, sometimes that just happens for players and they're like in the flow of things and they're not going to pull it out. But then other times there might have been a scenario where, I mean, I'd have to go back and look. I didn't see anything happen. But there could be a scenario where someone did pull hair at some point, and Aaliyah Boston's like, "I'm over it. I'm gonna put it back in the jersey until later," because her hair was out later in the game. So I don't think it was a specific. I don't know what the reason was. I think it just got stuck in there. I don't think it was because someone pulled it, but who knows? I mean, Dejanay Carrington is that type of player that would pull the hair, and she is such a whiner, man. Like, it's hard for me to not enjoy a player more than her because of her history of the fouls that she does, the reckless plays she does, the and like some of the just like ridiculous plays she did. There was one where she traveled totally. They didn't call the travel, but she just like hucked up a ball thinking she was getting a foul or something. There's one where she was yelling at Hall for hitting her in the face, even though it was completely incidental. It wasn't even like a really like hit in the face. It was like Hall was like splitting a defender to get the ball on a steal. And like there was really no foul, but she's following the ref down the court, yelling at him, telling her, making sure that he knows that she got hit in the face. It's just like let it like man. I thought the Fever were whiners and fouls sometimes, maybe Caleb Clark, but man, the Wings players took it to a new level tonight, and that's just I guess I don't know their mo. But again, glad everyone that was in that game appears to have come out healthy, even despite their injuries. Happy for that for the Wings because they are a team that I want to root for because I do enjoy Paige Becker's plays and Paige Becker's play, and I know they're in a tough situation. But anyways, let me know what you think. What was your favorite play of the night? And I have a little announcement that I will be. If you watch the broadcast, you'll probably see me at the Storm game because I am up here in Seattle. So I will be going to the game. I'll be courtside. I'll be over by the Fever for that game. So look out for me. And if you spot me, hit me up in the comments on that video. I'll maybe making a post game and getting some footage from the game and the floor itself. But as always, remember, you're going to be amazing today because you are amazing. And I'll catch you next episode.